Well, today, Donald Trump backed down. Big surprise. Donald Trump backed down again. So not so big a surprise. Donald Trump backed down again and once again proved himself the weakest, most irrational negotiating president in history today when he backed down after one of his out-of-control threats to impose 50% tariffs, double them, 50% tariffs on Canada. Starting tomorrow morning, the stock market was already crashing downward and then sunk further after Donald Trump's unhinged threat of 50% tariffs against Canada. And then the stock market got some good news. Ukraine agreed to the terms of a possible ceasefire, which we'll discuss later in this hour. And Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, decided to suspend the 25% tariff he imposed on electricity that Ontario sells to the northern border states of Minnesota, Michigan, and New York, saying the temperature needs to come down. And then Donald Trump's temperature came down a little bit. He dropped his threat of 50% tariffs starting tomorrow morning, and the stock market then stabilized for the rest of the day with a huge loss, but it didn't keep sinking. It stabilized at a loss of 478 points. It was on its way to a much, much bigger loss. These are, as I was just saying, fantastically exciting days to be watching CNBC's daily coverage of the stock markets, which normally puts reasonable people to sleep, because normally CNBC is reporting on the most stable economy in the world and the strongest stock market in the world. And for certainly all of the Biden years, the stock market was doing very well, setting new record highs all the time. And the economists and stock analysts who appeared on CNBC and the CEOs were all sharing variations on how to get richer that day in the Biden stock market. But now, some of the CNBC regulars, who, like good airline pilots, never want to sound panicked, sound as close to panicked as they can get.
If those two good developments, perhaps a stand down on the Canadian tariffs and hopefully a ceasefire in Ukraine, if they hadn't come up, I think we would have had another 1,000-point drop day today. I mean, it's clearly this destructive, if I should say so, up and down trade policy that has really worried the market and sowed uncertainty among consumers and businesses.
Disruptive and destructive. That is the distinguished Professor Jeremy Siegel, who teaches economics at Donald Trump's alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School. Here is what the worst economic student ever to attend Wharton said about that today.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad.
Biden gave him the strongest economy any president has ever handed off to another president. He gave him the highest stock market any president has ever handed off to another president. And so that answer would get Donald Trump an F in Professor Siegel's class today. And what Donald Trump wrote at 10:15 a.m. today would get him kicked out of the Wharton School. That is when he publicly posted on social media his threat of 50% tariffs. When the stock market was already headed down, Donald Trump's crazy statement about 50% tariffs made it so much worse. But the thing that would have gotten him kicked out of the Wharton School was not what he said about tariffs in that post. It's what he said about making Canada the 51st state. If Donald Trump had said that in a college class, they probably would have sent him straight to the infirmary to see if anything medical or neurological was causing the very early onset dementia that he would have been exhibiting in that classroom. Here's what he said that is very important to American workers about making Canada the 51st state. And let me first stipulate this. It's never going to happen. I don't even like to talk about it. I normally don't discuss the Canada 51st state thing in any detail because it's so ridiculous. But what's important about his statement about it today, shows the profound depth of stupidity in what Donald Trump is saying about making Canada the 51st state. If he just said, make Canada the 51st state and left it at that, that would be one level of stupidity. But he keeps going. He said this would make all tariffs and everything else totally disappear. There would no longer be a northern border problem. Now, auto workers in Michigan and Ohio and factory workers everywhere in the country who Donald Trump pretends he's trying to protect should think about what that stupid thing Donald Trump actually said that will never happen would actually mean to them. It would mean that all the American cars being made in Canada right now that Donald Trump doesn't want to be made in Canada would still be made in Canada. Every factory in Canada would still operate, and there would be zero tariffs on anything coming into the rest of the states from our 51st state, which means that every manufacturing job in Canada now would stay in Canada, and your manufacturing job in Michigan might just move over to that new state of Canada, because it's the same country. And how would factory workers in the 48 states below Canada feel about the newest state taking their jobs? That utterly demented statement by Donald Trump about making Canada the 51st state completely contradicts his stated desire to move Canadian auto manufacturing jobs across the border into the United States. And now I apologize for even entertaining Donald Trump's dementia to that extent, but it is worth pointing out that within the stupidest thing he says in his social media post, there's actually an even deeper level of stupidity that is ignored by every single reporter who quotes Donald Trump saying that he once again wants to make Canada the 51st state. If Joe Biden had ever said anything like what Donald Trump said about Canada today, everyone else in the news media would have said what I'm saying about Donald Trump right now. Donald Trump's mind doesn't work. Donald Trump is mentally incapable of doing the job he was elected to do. It's not even close. It's not like, well, Donald Trump is almost smart enough for this job. No, Donald Trump's mind does not work. It is broken. It cannot be fixed. Donald Trump does not understand the English language. Some of the simplest words in the English language are beyond him. A word like, say, illegal. Donald Trump really doesn't know what it means. He doesn't, which is why he was convicted of 34 felonies in Manhattan. I believe Donald Trump didn't realize that the way he was paying off Stormy Daniels was illegal, but ignorance of the law is no defense in a courtroom. And Donald Trump's illegal imposition of tariffs is something that doesn't bother him in the least. But whenever Donald Trump does use the word illegal, he is always wrong. Like today, when he said it is illegal for people to not buy Teslas. He said that, and he's still president. He said it is illegal. 15 minutes after midnight last night, the president, who doesn't understand the English language and doesn't understand law, said that it's illegal not to buy Teslas. He said it's illegal to boycott Tesla. Boycott means don't buy one. Again, if any other president had ever said it's illegal not to buy a car, a particular car, they would have rushed that president into a neurological exam immediately. In the middle of the night, when he should have been sleeping and resting that 78-year-old brain of his so it could desperately try to function the next day, Donald Trump wrote, the radical left lunatics, as they often do, are trying to illegally and collusively boycott Tesla, one of the world's greatest automakers, and Elon's baby, in order to attack and do harm to Elon and everything he stands for. Well, he's right about the motivation. The people who are protesting at Tesla dealerships, including in Donald Trump's hometown of New York City, are hoping to discourage Tesla sales. because they are hoping that the richest person in the world can be driven ultimately to the bankruptcy that he is falsely predicting for the United States government. Once again, Elon Musk said the United States government would go bankrupt. He said that today. It's impossible. The United States government cannot go bankrupt and never will. But Elon Musk could theoretically go bankrupt if sales of Teslas stopped, if they just stopped in the United States. And as we reported earlier this week, sales of Teslas have dropped dramatically worldwide. In Europe, they've dropped dramatically. In the United States, they've dropped dramatically. And so Donald Trump, in his desperation to keep his biggest campaign contributor in history, the biggest campaign contributor in the history of American politics, to keep Elon Musk the richest person in the world, especially after Elon Musk is now, according to the New York Times report tonight, promising another $100 million in campaign money for Donald Trump. Donald Trump did something illegal today, and he did it in the White House driveway. Donald Trump used federal property to do a TV commercial. Donald Trump stood with Elon Musk in the White House driveway with some Teslas in front of them, and Donald Trump pretended to buy a Tesla. It has been reported by legitimate news organizations everywhere that Donald Trump bought a Tesla from Elon Musk today, as if that's a fact. There is no evidence of that whatsoever. No bill of sale, no check was passed, nothing was signed. The two most awkward people in America stood there like statues trying to save Elon Musk's wealth with the completely fake stunt of Donald Trump pretending to buy a car from the richest person in the world with no money or paperwork changing hands. And saying, when asked, that he illegally was hoping that this stunt that he was doing on federal property against federal law would push up his friend's stock price.
If you buying a Tesla will boost Tesla sales and boost
Well, I
their
hope
stock?
it does.
He hopes it does. You can search the history books for the moment when any previous president of the United States used the White House to try to publicly push up the stock price of his richest friend's stock. It has never happened. It is illegal to use federal property the way Donald Trump and Elon Musk used federal property today, and neither one of them know it. It was Elon Musk who first said that boycotts are illegal, which is not true. Elon Musk said it was illegal for advertisers to boycott Twitter after he turned Twitter into a cesspool full of Nazis and assorted madmen. Elon Musk is not from around here. Elon Musk does not understand the country where he now lives. Elon Musk would fail by a wide margin a high school AP American history test. He grew up in white South Africa, going to a segregated elementary school and high school where he learned nothing about American history, American law, American free enterprise, where every company gets to decide where, how, and when they will advertise and where they won't, and where no company is allowed to advertise on federal property. A country where advertisers have never wanted to be associated with Nazis. Elon Musk is such a bad salesman that he was stupid enough today to bring even more attention to the latest disturbing challenges that Tesla owners are facing thanks entirely to Elon Musk.
I just want to thank the president for his support. This means a lot. And also thank everyone out there who is supporting Tesla. It's really terrible that there's so much violence being perpetrated against people like Tesla, Tesla supporters, Tesla owners, Tesla stores. These are innocent people who've done nothing wrong.
So yeah, that's true. Those people have done nothing wrong. All the problems they are facing now because of their association with Tesla are Elon Musk's fault, exclusively. Imagine you work at America's oldest car manufacturer, Ford, and you watch the President of the United States doing an illegal commercial today on federal property for the newest car maker in America. Imagine you're a factory worker at America's biggest auto manufacturer that has the most auto manufacturing jobs in the United States, General Motors. And you have to watch today when the President of the United States does an illegal TV commercial at the White House for America's newest auto manufacturer because the owner of that company has given the President more money than anyone has ever given a politician in American history. NBC News reports a major automaker said, quote, Tesla has benefited more from taxpayer money than any other car maker by far. Now the White House is marketing Tesla's vehicles. What's next? Donald Trump is a terrible actor. And so there was nothing convincing today in his pretending to buy a Tesla or pretending to even like Teslas.
They cost too much and they don't go far. Electric cars are good if you have a towing company. Other than that, it's terrible. This whole electric car is sick. It's sick. They don't go far. It's good if you want to go to the grocery store, take a quick little drive. You know, they say the best thing about an electric car, the first 10 minutes, you feel great. The next 45 minutes, you're worried about where the hell am I going to get a recharge? So it's a problem. But they don't go far, and they're very expensive. And the other thing is you'll never make them in this country because everything you need for an electric car is in China. We have the stuff that you need for our cars. It's called gasoline and oil. It's right underground.
That's the real Donald Trump. Before Elon Musk bought the presidency for him.